BlizzCon disappointment. Final 11.0 predictions and BlizzCon Bingo card. The weekly reset. Okay. Let's see what this is all about here.
Hey Evie, you didn't say this video is sponsored by Squarespace.
Oh.
This video is sponsored by Squarespace.
There you go. Dropping that. Dropping it.
Hello Internet, Tali Evitel here, and welcome to a very special episode of the Weekly Reset. Tali Evitel and Evitel's Wondrous Wisdom Show, a pre-BlizzCon special. No more beating around the bush, fam, because in a few days' time, we will know the next World of Warcraft expansion. We will know the future plans for World of Warcraft Classic. We will have been uber hyped by Chris Metzen himself, and basically, WoW will be saved. You're gonna love it now.
It's gonna be a good
big
day.
Chunk of this episode
I can't
is going
wait.
to be taken up by Evitel and me getting off the fence and putting down in stone our final predictions for those WoW announcements.
Ooh, I'm excited to see what
we think
these
the new
are.
expansion will be, and yes, it is likely that some very convincing supposed leaks that keep on happening might well factor into those predictions too.
Sure.
We'll also be putting
I think the
together
leaks are
our
real.
BlizzCon announcement bingo card to play along with. As it happens, something we'll be doing live on stream from the BlizzCon floor, as we have a streaming slot that starts at the same time as the opening ceremony. So if watching a pair of extremely tired but extremely excited, wide-eyed, innocent things be completely wrong about everything in real time is your kind of thing, please join us for that. So this is what the episode looks like. A bit of talk about the rather surprising structure of BlizzCon itself, a sneaky look at the very latest
I've talked about the
compelling
schedule. It is
leaks,
interesting.
Then bingo card and prediction time with the two of us. It seems very strange to think that the last time a proper live in-person BlizzCon
Pre-COVID,
happened,
wasn't it?
It was the BlizzCon that Shadowlands was announced at. The BlizzCon that Diablo 4 was announced at. The BlizzCon where we hosted the WoW Q&A with Evitel on stage, heavily pregnant with our now almost 4-year-old son. The world has been through some pretty bleak
It's been a long
times since
time.
then,
Holy crap.
and still hasn't fully recovered. World of Warcraft has gone through probably its lowest times ever since then, and
probably
still hasn't recovered. So this first BlizzCon back is exciting for the reasons it always is: big announcements and reveals and interviews and cosplay, and for ones lucky enough to be there, the chance to see in real life people you usually only get to hang out with online. But I think it's fair to say that this year's
I would love to go
event
to
is also
BlizzCon one
important
day.
in a much more symbolic way, a sign that things are getting back to normal in some small sense, a chance of having a proper celebration of a game and community that we love, rather than it be something that we just argue about on Twitter. Basically what I'm saying is, after 4 years, we deserve a party. We deserve to feel good about the community.
Agreed. I'm
and
very
the
excited
game.
about this
So
BlizzCon.
Blizz better not it up with some lame-ass announcement. And how could they, right? When Chris Metzen himself is back in the fold to deliver it. And let's be honest, the next expansion could be World of Warcraft, Wrath of the Half-Baked Rush Job bullshit, and it would probably sound good with Metzen announcing it. But both Chris and Blizzard leader Mike Ybarra have been bigging up the WoW BlizzCon announcement so much on social media in the last few weeks that most people, quite understandably, have got the impression that this year's reveals will be more significant than the standard World
That's
of
what I'm
Warcraft.
hoping for. Look, they built up hype, that's for sure. They built up hype. They've been interacting with people on social media much more than usual. Like, the No Pirates tweets about Warcraft having the most announcements of any other Blizzard title. Obviously, we had the whole Microsoft takeover. Shit's gone down. Metzen coming back. A lot has changed since the last BlizzCon. A lot has changed since Shadowland. As Garrosh once said, times change. That is very true, and a lot of time has passed. 4 years is a lot of time. Most games don't even make it 4 years. And this game, 4 years have passed since its last major BlizzCon announcement. So I'm excited. A major in-person BlizzCon announcement, I should say. So, they built up hype. Let's hope that this hype is worth it.
Expansion, and whether that is the case or not, and I genuinely try not to have huge expectations about these things, but I do definitely agree with that general sentiment that Chris and Mike have given the impression there's something special coming, and I can't blame people for going along with that. So the question is, what constitutes a bigger than usual expansion announcement?
Something new.
What fits that criteria? In my mind, there are three things that
it's got to be something new. It's not just your typical, okay, here's another continent, here's your new raid, here's your new mythic, here's your new season, here's your new tier set. Like, those things we always get, and we're going to get those, I'm sure. But there's got to be something else, like a twist on the game we haven't seen before. That's what I'm hoping.
One, we could be talking a full world revamp. Something lots of people are convinced is going to happen. 2, we could be talking some majorly significant new feature like player housing. Or 3, the option I find most likely personally, we could be talking an earlier than expected new expansion. With it looking increasingly unlikely that Dragonflight will extend into a 10.3 patch, despite an encrypted 10.25 build being on the PTR now, presumably waiting to go live.
Yeah, I personally think the time's going to line up where this expansion will drop next November. Essentially a year from now. If it's sooner than that, that would be amazing.
A week or so after 10.2, I feel like the stage could well be set for a surprise 11.0 release in the first half of 2024. Or whatever it turns out to be, it does have to be big. I think a standard WoW expansion reveal is probably going to be a bit of a disappointment for much of the community after this much build-up. And speaking of BlizzCon disappointment, let's take a look at the schedule for the event, which is much more streamlined than in previous years, mostly because whereas BlizzCon has traditionally been more like the world's geekiest music festival, with numerous different panels happening constantly across multiple
the panels
different
are limited
stages,
this time,
meaning there was always a choice to make between seeing the Overwatch What's Next on the main stage, or the WoW PvP finals in the arena, or going to watch a panel about the philosophy of StarCraft rock design in the Dark Moon Fair. In 2024, there is only one stage, and therefore much fewer panels with a much narrower scope. WoW Retail and Classic seem to be doing pretty well out of the schedule. Any big expansion reveals would come in the opening ceremony, which you can watch with us when we stream it from the show floor. Don't know if I mentioned that. And then there's a full What's Next panel for each, as well as a WoW deep dive on the Saturday. There's a community night, which will give you all the cosplay fun you'd expect, but there is no room for some other stalwarts, some favorites like a voice acting panel or a cinematics panel or even the World of Warcraft Q&A. And that's not just a shame, that's actually kind of weird. Obviously, I have skin in this game because, of course, Evie and I were hosts of what now looks maybe to be the last ever live WoW Q&A. Which
you ruined it,
Tali Evitel. We've got a
Evitel.
clip of somewhere. Actually, sorry, can we find a clip of that WoW Q&A that we hosted? Just a completely random clip, random one. Have we got any of those?
So, Steve, are you saying that Taliesin was right all along?
That's what I heard, too. Taliesin was right.
Are you saying that's canon?
Well,
Could you repeat that again? I don't think he heard it.
Thanks, Steve.
as much as it pains me to do something that makes you happy, Taliesin.
Yeah, so just a completely random clip there to remind you.
God, man, I mean, I look at Shadowlands in the background here, and I'm like, damn, we had no idea what was coming. Oh, we had no idea how deep and dark things were going to get. And they truly did get deep and dark.
Yeah, so just a completely random clip there to remind you of what the WoW Q&A is like at BlizzCon. But not this year. Instead, con-goers can submit their questions for a pre-recorded WoWcast, which will air a week later and serve as the Q&A.
We're going to get one a week later. That's cool. I didn't know that.
That makes BlizzCon leaner, more focused, and more fun than ever before. And that's not my words. That's the words of the forums, who all agreed this was a great move that, if anything, would actually result in better, more considered questions being asked and better answers from devs who are more comfortable. And isn't that the most important thing? That's better for everyone in... No, it's a shit show, obviously. Cowards! This is damage control. Gonna screen every single question and only let the devs answer softballs. Complete cowardice. Insanely massive L. Do you not have phones? Must have had a huge impact on them. No more hard questions or memes for these fishers. This last one is a pretty common view, that Blizzard have cancelled the WoW Q&A because they're scared of difficult questions. Like the whole, is this an early April Fool's joke? You guys all have phones stuff, you know? And I totally see why people might think that, and I'm not saying they're wrong because I don't know, but it feels fitting at this point to share an insider story here. When we hosted the WoW Q&A the year after you guys all have phones, right? It was the height of the Hearthstone Hong Kong scandal. And in the last meeting that we had before the event, I literally asked, like, what do you want us to do if someone comes up to the mic,
they might be scared to answer the real
question, because all questions are pre-approved, they always have been, and asks about Hong Kong or something instead? said. And the Blizz guy I asked flat out said, if someone asks a question, put it to the panel. It's a Q&A. The devs are there to answer questions and they'll just have to deal. So all I can say is that in my personal experience, which I think is pretty relevant, I don't think there's no live Q&A because Blizz are scared of anything. I think it really is just because there's not enough time, what with there only being one stage for panels. But please do not mistake that for me saying it's a good decision, okay? It sucks there's no WoW Q&A. That shit is a staple of the BlizzCon experience. Almost certainly you're going to end up with better questions and more questions and better answers by having it a week later on the WoWcast, but I don't care about that. I want to see Shadowstalker XX spend 3 minutes shouting out his guildies in orgasm face on Airy Peak before asking Ian Hazakosis why trolls can't have green fingernails. There is nothing more BlizzCon than...
Those shout-outs are so cringe, man. People who just sit up there, they shout out like half their guild before they ask their question. Come on.
That, and I need it. So
15 minutes of fame taken full milk in it.
I'm just getting old and hate change.
Yeah, no more red shirt guy.
The schedule just seems a bit weird and streamlined this year. I don't know. Ask me what I think when I get back, I guess. Leaks. It is now just days before the event, which is the time we would fully expect real-life, genuine leaks for whatever the next WoW expansion will be to surface. This is the time frame when the Bolvar image surfaced from the Shadowlands cinematic.
I remember
Past
that.
precedent dictates that this is the time when something will be...
This right here was peak Shadowlands. Not the cinematic. The image. This image itself right here. That was peak Shadowlands. That was the greatest hype. I remember when I saw this, first of all, I was disappointed because I was like, damn, is this really like... Did I just fucking leak this shit? Like, I didn't want to see it before it happened. And I was kind of annoyed that it had leaked out. But when I saw it, I was like, oh my god. This next... my shitty opinion. This next expansion is going to be the best expansion ever. We're getting the Lich King. Holy shit, how could this go wrong? Wah, wah, wah. Yeah, it did. And obviously, things went... I was disappointed the second I saw the thing. It was great when he stood up and summoned all these boys to attack the Sylvanas, and it was a great freaking moment. And then when she ripped the crown apart, I was immediately disappointed. I was pretty upset. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, how could this go wrong? Yeah, how could they scuff this up? They can't. Yeah, and then they did.
Leaked by some third-person contractor working at some random company that is installing banners or lights or merchandise to the Anaheim Arena. We will almost certainly see a real leak this week. The question is, will we recognize it when we do? Because fake leakers also know this is when the real leaks happen and go into overdrive themselves with the pretend stuff, something which has never been easier or more convincing with the access to AI that we all now have. Chances are something will come up while we are recording and editing this video.
AI has certainly changed the leaking game. There has been so many AI-generated images that it just makes it a lot harder to figure shit out, except the last one. The ones that recently leaked out, I've had like freaking 3 videos up probably now about it on YouTube. Those I really think are legit.
But
for
the
many
current
reasons.
Most popular frontrunner is the Storms of Avaloran leak with its supposed slides from the features trailer, giving us lightning stone dwarf griffin riders, the Avaloran continent, and like everything else the community has already decided the new expansion.
I think these are real.
We've done a really close look on this on our second channel, Tali Evitel and Evitel's second channel, which now has 30,000 subs. Thank you very much. But the TLDR is that it might be real, obviously, because frankly, we are into the time frame where anything might be real, and it would be foolish to discount it. But my gut feeling is that Storms of Avaloran is fake. It just seems a bit too conveniently made up of stuff people already expect, and the slides are missing stuff which would definitely be in the features trailer and make way more interesting slides to leak, but which would also be harder to fake, like shots of the main city or indeed any town or buildings, and of course the new expansion logo. I fully expect something even more compelling to hit in the coming days.
I think they're real.
Try the excellent Wowhead articles that we've linked in the description below, covering topics that we talk about in this video and new stuff that has cropped up while we're on the plane though. But in the meantime, we'll just have to make do with our official final predictions and BlizzCon Bingo card.
Yeah, they say it's real.
Here it is, Evie.
It's coming.
It's BlizzCon.
I had reasons. I broke down the evidence of why I thought they were real, and I was even able to like create the names for each of the continent or each of the zones that were in those pictures based on the other leaks. It was an in-depth breakdown. You got to check it out if you haven't already.
Time.
It is time.
It's almost here. And I mean, you know, just the madness trying to get this video done and out there before we go, because this is the most important part of the entire video.
It is because I'm here.
Yeah, well, there's that. Yes, there is. The important thing is our predictions about what the WoW announcements are actually going to be at BlizzCon, and what the new expansion is going to be.
Do you have some ideas, Tali?
I've got some ideas. We made a video about this 6 months ago.
I know. I was going to say, this feels like deja vu. I feel like we've been here. We've laid it all out on the table.
We were sitting differently. We had a much more formal setup. And I gave some predictions, which I think it was like Return to the Forbidden Reach at the time. But to help us with this prediction bit, we've enlisted the help of our BlizzCon Bingo 2020
Good for Tali.
announcement card.
My favorite bingo.
Specifically for World of Warcraft and specifically for retail World of Warcraft, because we don't want to get into the whole classic thing. Classic plus some new
Okay, here, let me move my my camera for this part of the video here. Let me put myself right here for you guys. That way you could actually see, and I'll remove this this and the G Fuel stuff. So let me quickly look at this bingo board, and I'll try to understand exactly what all this could mean. Well, then let me get rid of the G Fuel text. There we go. Okay. So what do we got? Storm Dwarves, new Drakthir. So I'm going to go through these, and I'll tell you which ones I think are going to happen, because I do think some of these are going to happen. Storm Dwarves, yes. New Drakthir classes. No. I don't give a fuck about that. I don't give a shit, which means it's not going to happen, right? Because everything's biased towards me. New playable race. No. Beyond Western Storms, yes. I think we are going to go to the new continent, Beyond the Storm. All that shit, it's going to happen. Thrall cinematic, yes, I do think Thrall is going to be in the cinematic in some way, because he is, in fact, all about the elements, and I see elements happening in this next expansion. And, of course, we had the return of Chris Metzen, so you got to have the return of Thrall as well, because one is the other is one. Gilneas. Probably not. I don't think Gilneas will be mentioned in the next... I think Gilneas is going to show up in the next expansion, but probably not as like part of the announcement or anything like that, or BlizzCon. A new player experience. Oh, maybe, yeah. Talking about new players coming into the game, that's definitely needed. They have been trying to iterate on that, so maybe we're going to get more of that. New Demon Hunter spec? No chance, probably not. Dragon Racing pre-purchase. Dragon Racing pre-purchase? Like a new Dragon Racing event? I don't even know what this is, so no. New support specs. Maybe. I would say the Evoker, I think, has been a success. I think the Evoker has proven that it belongs in raids. It belongs in Mythic Plus. It was a bit OP when it came in, but I think we will get more support specs. Blizzard has balanced it out fairly well recently, so I think we could get some new support specs. Player housing, no. Boats, unfortunately, no. I don't see boats being a thing. I was excited about it. Remember I talked about ship riding instead of dragon riding, and how we're going to have custom boats. And to me, boats and player housing go hand in hand. I think one day customized boats will be the player housing answer that we're all looking for, because it's very easy to do. Everyone then would be at the dock. You don't have to worry about putting people on the continent and for you anywhere. And then if you've ever looked at like the Kultiran ships or anything, they are very intricate when you go down below deck. Like there's tons of stuff you'd be able to customize if they ever gave us customizing boats stuff. So there you go. Boats and player housing, probably not. Shamans for all. With an elemental expansion, that could be, whether or not it's shamans for all, but shamans for more races, yeah. I could see that happening, so I give that one a check. BlizzCon, sure, check, that's in the center. New Demon Hunter spec? No, I don't think so. World Revamp? I really think World Revamp is... So on the new continent, I'm sure we're going to get a lot of new, cool assets that'll lead to more World Revamp talk. That'll probably happen. I could see that happening, and I think World Revamp in total will really happen in the next expansion. But we'll start to get hints at it this expansion. New profession? Sure, why not? I mean, Blizzard's really working on professions. Maybe not a new profession, but I could see them doing more archaeology. You know, that's one that they kind of left behind. Maybe like working on some of the professions that they left behind. Old Gods, this could be a check on every single expansion. I mean, Old Gods have been everywhere. Every expansion's an Old God expansion at this point. So yes, Old Gods will be relevant. Borrowed power back? Borrowed power back. No, I don't think we're going to do borrowed power shit anymore. No. Cross that out. Back to WoW's roots? Yes. I think the new continent is really going to try to give you a feeling of Azeroth. It's not going to seem too foreign, not going to seem too crazy. I think a back to Azeroth feel at least will be happening. Yes, so back to WoW's roots, yes. Check on that. Early launch? I was predicting November, and I still think November is what we're going to get. So, probably not, no. Even though we've been very fast with the cadence of patches. So that has been happening very quickly. Avaloran, yes. I think we're getting Avaloran. I think those leaks were true. And I think we are going to go to the continent west of Kalimdor. That's definitely what I think is going to happen. Underground zone, sure, there will be an underground. There will be something going on underground. We've gotten plenty of hints about that stuff. Grizzled Anduin. Remember that comic that came out where we had a grizzled Anduin, a gray, gray hair with a scar and everything like that? Maybe if I find it, I'll throw a picture up right now for this video. Grizzled Anduin. It'd be cool if we got it. I actually hope we get it. So I'm going to put some hopium on this one and say yes. Game Pass. Not yet. Maybe one day. But not yet. I think it's too soon to call out Game Pass happening for sure. A Tinker Spec, that'd be great. 10.3. No. There will be no 10.3. I've given many reasons. I've dropped videos on my YouTube channel all about why there won't be a 10.3. I don't see a 10.3 happening. So let's see if Tali Evitel and Evitel match up with my predictions here.
Whatever.
You can only predict so much correctly.
Exactly. There weren't enough squares for all of the
No
correct
10.3, no chance.
WoW Classic predictions as well. But I feel like I want to say, we filled up our squares here with things that I don't necessarily think are going to happen.
Okay.
This is like a bingo card, so even if I'm wrong, there'll be things on here that we can tick off.
Oh, so
when we're watching it live,
okay,
because let's remind everyone that we will be watching the opening ceremony live from the show.
If you were keeping up, by the way, I didn't get a bingo, I think.
We've got a streaming slot at BlizzCon, which starts at the exact same time as the opening ceremony starts. So please join us for that, and we can watch all the announcements together. We'll have the bingo card up.
Exactly.
You can all laugh at us being wrong in real time.
So that'll be on our Twitch.
11 a.m. PST.
California
We'll get stuff
time.
from Game Pass, there's no doubt.
That's
That could happen.
So this collects together some things I think
that could happen. And I have Game Pass, so I'd be all about that. But yes, Game Pass, like, oh, if you're a Game Pass member, you get this in-game mount or something like that. Sure, yeah, that could happen.
And some things that, the general community at large seems
I think
to
WoW
might
could
happen.
eventually
We've got
be Game Pass
Storm
enabled,
Dwarves
but not yet.
here. I think that's a pretty much given. That's almost like a free square in many ways.
Yep.
But maybe not. Maybe everyone's completely wrong about this.
Loads of other things point to this happening.
Oh, you believe that leak, don't you?
I kind of do.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We have new Drakthir classes. So that's Drakthir being
Sam
players,
noticed me. What's
like
up?
hunters or warriors
Samiccus
or
only fan.
things
What's up,
like
man?
that. So not just being limited to evokers. It's opening up Drakthir to other things.
Mr.
Sorry if you
Moishi.
can hear the drilling from the builders downstairs. There's not much we can do about that. We're going away in a couple of days. We need to get our bathroom finished. New playable race.
Oh.
So I know you don't think that's going to happen?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
We just got Drakthir.
Yeah, exactly. But imagine an expansion with no new playable race or new playable class. Do you know what expansion that is, Evie?
Which one is that?
That's WoD.
Oh.
That's WoD right there. And
but
also
WoD was
Shadowlands.
cool.
That's WoD and Shadowlands. Do you really want WoD and Shadowlands? Do you think that Blizz is going to be sitting there going, you know what we need? We need another expansion like WoD and Shadowlands. That's how we get the players back.
No new playable races. Do Storm Dwarves count as a new playable race?
Well, I mean, if they're playable, yes, Evitel.
Okay.
Beyond the Western Storms,
yeah.
I mean, I've seen some leaks that
look
pretty convincing that contradict this.
Oh, really?
To be honest, yeah, but I can't see us not going.
Okay, one quick thing about playable race. I do still think we might get like Tuskar or something at the very end of Dragonflight. Like as like here's a final patch. Oh, by the way, do this quest line. You unlock Tuskar. Like that could happen. I still think so.
On the Western Storms at this point. Thrall featuring heavily in the cinematic trailer.
Bold.
Well, he's just everywhere on the key art.
He is.
And I know it kind of links in with Metzen and things like that.
I think we will.
Return,
I mean,
right?
yeah. I mean, if there is storms and stuff like that, that's very shamanistic. You know, that's very elemental, and it would be very fitting for Thrall to be a major.
That's why I think
character
Thrall
in
could
that
be.
Cinematic,
I think you might be right.
Gilneas.
Oh, okay. Where is this coming from?
I don't know, man. Whether Gilneas is like revamped,
there,
or you know, features as part of the story.
Gilnea's storyline and Undercity storyline, I think, could certainly happen, but I don't think it's going to be like part of the announcement.
Or, you know, lots of people talk about Gilneas the same as they do every single expansion. Literally every single expansion. You know, there are some that I could have literally just lifted whole cloth from
4
bingo
a.m. for you
cards
guys? Wow.
of many years past. A new player experience.
Oh, okay, a new player
A
experience.
new player experience. So
Okay.
I don't know what that would be.
Entire
I
player
don't think they'll
universe.
do anything to Exile's Reach.
Okay.
But you know, something with Chromie time, and you know, like you know how like our Path of the Curator thing or something like that, or maybe
Yeah,
something
okay.
completely different. I don't know.
Adventure mode,
Yeah,
right,
we'll put
okay.
that in. I'm going to be
Okay.
pretty forgiving with my definition of that when it pops up. I think.
Okay.
Dragon Racing pre-purchase. Let me explain this one to you.
Yeah, I didn't
do.
Because
understand
this
what
one
this
is
was.
very specific. This actually does relate to a genuine, very specific prediction that I have. Okay. So I think. Do you remember when there was that Shadow? And I have said this on videos before, but do you remember when there's that Shadowlands pre-purchase that was available, like you know, straight away when they announced it?
Yeah.
It was like, and also pre-purchase, and it came with a mount.
Yeah.
And when you got on that mount,
The ensorcelled one.
that's right,
Yeah.
the kind of
The
mana
sperm.
worm thing.
Yeah,
and
the
when you got
sperm.
on that mount, it gave you a quest to like collect a gabillion anima
Loved that stuff.
from mobs in BFA. And
Love
when you
quests
collected
like
a
that.
gabillion anima, you got that really cool transmog, which is a bit like
So
someone from
good.
Oribos sort of thing.
So cool.
The gloves of which go have like the gloves have shoulder
The
pads
elbow
on,
thing, yeah.
like glowing shoulder pads. The best gloves like in the game.
Okay,
like
they're
they're
pretty
so
good.
good.
They're
They
pretty
fit for
good.
so many different transmogs. But I think there's gonna be something exactly like that.
Okay.
I think when they announce this new expansion, whatever it's going to be, I think there is going to be a pre-purchase event that you get access to when you pre-purchase the new expansion.
Okay, instantly
Okay.
available.
Yeah, and I
right?
think it's going to be dragon racing
Okay.
through various storm-themed zones. So Storm Peaks, Stormheim, any other place with storms in it, right? All you're going to have
Probably
to do is
not.
complete the races, and
It's cool, but I don't
that
think
will
that's gonna happen.
unlock a transmog or a mount or something like that, which will be like the pre-purchase transmog or pre-purchase mount.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. I think I'm with you for most of this.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's going to be a pre-purchase thing that happens that you get. I don't think it's going to be dragon racing.
Really?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
because I
think so
still
either.
feel like that and can be like slightly inaccessible for some people.
Well, so it wouldn't be like you even have to get bronze or gold
Okay,
or
you
anything
just
like that.
have to
You
do
just
it.
have to complete the course.
Okay,
You know?
okay.
And obviously then bronze and gold and silver and stuff would be available. But
Okay.
Imagine,
okay,
Pepper.
maybe.
Imagine.
so that's my
We've
like
just been so
super
wrong.
specific prediction.
very niche, yeah.
And I put
I
it
like
in.
it.
I put it in the bingo card because I'm pretty confident about it. New support specs.
Oh,
what do you think about that? eh?
Was augmentation not enough for you?
I mean, to be honest with you, augmentation is more than enough for me. I feel.
think we will eventually
They
get
either
more
have to kind
new
of
support
scrap
specs.
the whole support spec thing completely,
Or go for it.
or like they're gonna have
Yeah,
to
go
introduce
all
some
in.
new ones.
Bard?
So,
Is it time for a bard?
God, I love a bard. What class would you give bard to? If it had to be a spec in an existing class, what would you have?
The
guess
complete
a
opposite.
rogue?
Yeah, instead of
Yeah,
going
so
underground, we
Maybe
go
have
into
to be
space.
Just
Yeah.
like
I think it fits.
Yeah,
I think
maybe.
adding a bard spec to rogue could be pretty fun.
Yeah.
I think it'd be pretty cool.
Bobby's
Player
leaving in
housing,
January.
Another one that we can just have there
Oh,
every
more boats.
every
Yeah,
single
every year.
basically.
He can buy as many boats as he wants.
Oh, is this combined with player housing? Is the player housing on the boats?
I think if we have player housing,
That's what I said. I said these two go hand in hand because I think if we ever do get player housing, it will be on a boat.
that also turns out to be boats. We get two squares ticked off there.
Nice.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
like boats.
Yeah.
I mean, like boats is a major feature of the expansion. So
Oh,
whether that be,
right,
like,
okay.
a new way of traversing.
Yeah.
I've got a sneaky suspicion. I don't have a suspicion at all. What I would do,
Mm.
especially if I was having like an exploration kind of X-Pack, which is what I do expect it to
Mm-hmm,
be, like beyond the Western Storms and stuff. Then I would be racking my brains right now if I was a dev as to recreate how awesome dragon riding is and have like another form of traversal
in the water.
which also gamifies traversal and makes it its own gameplay thing in its own right.
Yeah, so
and,
like-
and boats would be the obvious one to do that with.
Navigatable
Yeah,
boats that
exactly.
you can pilot yourself.
Yeah,
instead of
yeah.
just
Yeah.
Because as we, the
That-
way we think
I
of
called it
boats and
ship
things-
riding. That's what I called it. It would be like a dynamically sailing the open seas. That was how I imagined ship riding being. If you've ever played, what's it called? That pirate game. It's Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves. By the way, a Microsoft title essentially. If you've ever played Sea of Thieves, the sailing in that game, the way you open the sails towards the wind and you sail on the ocean, it's very cool. It's one of my. I actually like that game a lot. I think it's a very underrated game. Sea of Thieves is very fun. And the dynamic way you ride a ship, to me, could be like a ship riding thing, like in WoW. I feel like that could be implemented in WoW. and the whole no more loading screens tech that they've kind of created with the the new zone in WoW, that recently, the underground zone. I feel like that could be used, and you could have dynamic ship riding, right, in WoW with customizable ships that double as player housing. To me, that's like you tick 3 boxes, three things that people have wanted in the game all at once. I feel like that could happen.
You stand on it.
Exactly.
And wait for the loading screen.
And we used to think of flying as just getting on and just pressing where you want to go. But adding a kind of a mini game to it makes it a much more enjoyable experience.
Sea of Thieves would be great if you. It's better when you have people to play with.
Anyway, Shaman for all. Now, this could equally be Paladins for all or Druids for all.
Well, it's Shaman. Isn't
Yeah, but I mean, it would make more sense.
Elemental
for
expansion,
me,
Shaman.
It's happened already.
They're all on the
what
cover.
I think the next expansion is going to be for Shaman to be kind of made available for every single race in the game, including, I think, Drakthir. So that would be another.
I think more races.
Well, yeah, because it's all because the elemental
Not
dragons,
everywhere.
right?
It makes sense, right?
It all fits together.
They've already got the casting animations, the Drakthir. It's all
do,
good, yeah.
They do, actually.
We've got a free square in the middle, just
Nice.
a BlizzCon logo.
Love
nice. So as long as BlizzCon happens, that one gets ticked off. It's still not completely certain.
Yeah, but as long
New
as
Demon
BlizzCon
Hunter
happens.
spec.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, so this is something, I don't think this is going to happen, but this is something I've heard a lot of people talking about.
Okay.
The world revamp.
Oh.
The
Hey,
world
everyone.
revamp,
It's
yeah.
me.
Oh,
It's me being
it's a
completely
Squarespace ad.
100% normal about BlizzCon being right around the corner. It's totally cool because
It's a
you know what's
Squarespace
keeping me
ad.
grounded? Knowing that Squarespace has my back and that they're hosting my website safely and securely, and because they're sponsoring today's video, which is frankly really awesome. You know, it's times like this, standing on the cusp of a big trip or important event, when I often think to
Get your
myself,
Squarespace.
where is my passport? But more importantly, what am I? When the border
What
control
am I?
officer asks what my job is, what do I say? Live internet video person? Online video game dabbler? I used to feel weird about using the term creator, but Squarespace actually has loads of creator tools which, 1, are genuinely useful to me, and 2, make me feel
Good
like a
old
little less of a
Squarespace
fraud
app.
about calling myself one.
Internet
So
mommy.
this is actually pretty cool. Squarespace gives you the full creator package. You can create one central website as a
When's
hub
the
for
only
all of your
Sam's getting more
stuff that
content?
isn't constrained to one social
I need
media
to,
platform. You can
use
use
Squarespace
Squarespace's really handy
to create
e-commerce
a new Only
integrations,
Sam's
which I've
website.
talked about before, to sell your wares. And you can follow your successes in real time through their built-in analytics platform. I've never felt more creatory and legitimate than when harnessing the power of Squarespace's creator tools. You
Bam.
know what? I'm gonna look that border control lad or lady right in the eye this time and say, my name is Evitel. Yes, that's my full real name. And I am a creator. And I've got a logo to prove it, which I made using Squarespace's built-in logo creator. How cool is that?
Wow.
Now I've just gotta create something. Listen, while I sort that out, how about you give your own creator skills a spin? Set the groundwork for your internet empire with a free website trial on Squarespace. And when you're ready to
Do it.
scale your biz with a
Do it and
proper
use their
creator
code. There you
kit,
go.
just go to squarespace.com/TaliEvitel or use code TaliEvitel to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com/TaliEvitel.
Are you going to create your own Binger card after this?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to
okay.
be
Can I?
pretty,
I don't-
like,
kinda
forgiving
just
with
went through
one
this
as
one.
well. You know, I'll count like one old world continent being
Okay.
revamped as a world revamp.
Is there a create your own
is,
bingo
I'm
I'm
card
not
thing?
counting that as a world
okay.
revamp.
It's
gotta
gotta be-
I
it's gotta
would
be a
count that as like, so
continent.
if it
Okay.
turns out like BFA and it's like Stromgarde and Darkshore
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
like that, that is
No,
not a world
okay.
revamp. But it needs to be like a proper this whole continent sort of thing, just about.
Okay.
You know, which I'd be down with.
I'm in.
There is like a
would be
really
good content.
tantalizing rumor going around right now that we are looking at a Eastern Kingdoms specific revamp. So I'd be really interested
Interesting
to see if that
comment,
happens.
Sammy.
I could actually see that happening, honestly.
Wow.
I
Maybe
was
coming.
not convinced about a world revamp at all, but since someone has mentioned just an Eastern Kingdom specific world revamp,
Oh,
I
I
can
would love
actually
that.
like genuinely see that.
I would really love that.
Yeah, totally. A new profession.
Ooh.
And by new profession, I don't mean, you know, a profession changing a lot.
Yeah.
I mean like literally woodworking or
Yeah, I
like,
knew you were gonna say
woodworking
that,
is
yeah.
the one,
Woodworking.
right? That's the one that matches up with player housing so well. Like if you were going to make player housing, you'd make a woodworking
Someone who makes
profession.
furniture.
So you can make
Love
floorboards and tables and stuff
Yes.
like that. Or just prepare wood that other kind of professions can play with.
Right, yeah.
and make
Someone's
use
got to
of.
prepare the wood.
Yeah, you can't just sit on that wood. You've got to give it, hand it out to other people.
Yeah.
Old gods.
Of course.
Okay, I mean, speaks for itself, right?
100%.
Patel started to be like, we got to
borrowed
clip this.
power back. Okay, so okay, I think this should have happened already. Now, we've had a video about this. Now, you know us, internet, we recognized that Blizz needed to stop doing the whole borrow power thing, and they did with Dragonflight, and it was really, really good. However, I am personally of the opinion that if they had introduced a mild borrowed power system into 10.2, so it wasn't like an expansion feature, it was a patch feature and a patch wide
like
feature.
shards of domination.
If they had introduced some kind of mini artifacts.
Horrible.
You could argue they did that with a ring in the Forbidden Reach, but Forbidden Reach was 10.07. The season was all over.
Yeah, that felt like borrowed
Blue
power.
feature.
Yeah, I mean it's a season feature. So
Okay.
you start it, you're grinding it, go into the raid and stuff like that with it, and you
And
kind
you're
of power
working
up
on it
as
over time.
over time as you're in the raid and stuff like
Okay.
that. I think 10.2 would have been better and more exciting. I think people would be more hyped about 10.2 if they had like a mild borrowed power system in it.
Okay.
And
Maybe.
I
In the long
I
term,
don't
it
think
becomes
they
a bit
will, but I
annoying.
wouldn't be surprised to see them have again a very low key borrowed power system make a return for 11.0.
Very
for the next
interesting.
expansion.
Maybe it'll be like borrowed power for woodworkers, right? Like you need
Just-
to level up.
You mean
like,
they can only
your
get their wood up
lathe,
like
like
for
what you use.
for a little bit at a time? Back to WoW's roots.
Oh, I mean,
like if people on stage,
I think if there was a borrowed power thing, sure, it could be some kind of like Thrall is giving you this elemental necklace and you gotta, get shit and fill it up or something like that. That could
Say that?
happen.
Yeah.
I don't think so,
Boom.
though.
we're going home.
early launch. This is another thing that I think could happen. So
okay.
early launch and 10.3 are probably contradictory to each other. But so I think it's gonna be one or the other, or neither. In fairness, but if there is not a 10.3, which is looking increasingly like there isn't, then maybe they're planning on the next expansion coming out a little bit earlier.
That would
Maybe
feel good.
That would feel like a big thing. That would feel
So
kinda cool.
November would not be early. What would it be? I mean, September. Maybe a September launch if it was like early. They're not going to do. I mean, I can't. Obviously, I don't think it's going to happen. We still got a 10.2.5 and a 10.2.7 likely to come. So to me, like midway through next year would be the soonest we could see something like that. A summer launch, maybe. I feel like they don't like to do that. So maybe September.
So I'm thinking if it comes out in
Would be
first half
an early
of
launch.
2024, then that counts as an early launch, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Summer.
Does it have to
summer
be
is like
first
I would
half?
even count July as
I would. Yeah.
But I think Legion
Yeah, I would
released
think
in
July would
August,
be
so I
early.
wouldn't count August.
Oh,
But I
okay.
would count July.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for.
By that
Avaloran-
criteria, I don't think there's any chance that we get it that early. That's crazy. I'd be hyped if it was, but I don't think so.
yeah.
So okay, here's the thing, right? I'm actually going to predict that we don't.
Let up spam.
That Avaloran is not like the continent that we go to.
Okay.
I'm going to predict that the new expansion is not set in Avaloran.
Oh.
Okay. That's. I know.
Okay.
I don't even
Bold.
know why I'm doing
Bold.
this to myself.
Yeah,
I
why
know
are you
all my
doing this?
reputation, but I'm gonna predict that it's not.
Okay.
Because everyone's saying it, and I'm just like, Khazalgar looks certain.
Yes.
And wherever that is and what have you, and that could easily be Avalon. I'm not saying we definitely won't.
Yeah.
I'm just making it part of my prediction that we will, like the new continent or whatever that we go to is not Avaloran.
Okay.
It might be like a different kind of zone off somewhere that you go to.
Yeah,
like
there's.
in the
I
war, or
would
it might
say
appear
there's
later
going to
on
be.
in the expansion or whatever. Next
And
prediction.
I don't think this expansion's the world revamp expansion yet. So I think we are going to go to some new continent. If it'll probably be Avaloran, but we're going to go to some new continent. In the expansion where they do the world revamp, like the Cataclysm style expansion, maybe we will not go somewhere new, but instead they will do the world revamp, and then they have to give us reasons to go back to those newly revamped zones. So then we will stay in the Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor for that expansion. But there'll be new content to do in all the zones. That'll be like the world revamp expansion, which isn't this next one. So I still think we're getting a new continent.
Before you ever tell,
Or
an
island.
underground zone.
Ooh, is it a dwarven flavored underground?
I mean, that would
zone?
seem likely, right?
Yeah, if
Earth
it's an
exists in
underground
WoW,
zone, for
does
me,
it?
It's gonna have to be like Mines of
don't think so.
Moria.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
It needs to be like a dwarven city.
And I think that's cool. I think that's what we're going to get. I think we're going to get like exactly a Mines of Moria thing where it's like very 3D and like all that cool dwarven architecture, people on drills downstairs, just like,
Yeah, this is
making noise
for
the whole
flavor.
time. Yeah, this is for flavor
Diggy
right
diggy
here. Yeah,
holes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
I'd
I
be
could
down
see
for
that.
Yeah, me too.
I'd love
Would you
that.
be down for that?
I would be down. all up in that.
Grizzled Anduin.
Oh yeah, because he's been away, hasn't he?
He's been away for a whole ass expansion now, which is definitely enough time for him to age 20 years and get a beard.
Yeah.
I feel
think
like
he's ready.
I feel like
he's ready.
maybe he'll have a scar.
I'm
you know, one of
ready
those
for that.
sexy scars.
Yeah.
Maybe his hair will be a bit shorter or something.
So I mean, I'm
Like the
into it,
comic
but
version, I'm telling you.
Is Twitter ready for this?
That comic that I referred to before, I think it was retconned at some point. It might not be, in the lore anymore. But that was supposed to be like, Anduin preparing for his final battle. I think he was standing next to Prophet Velen and shit. And I still think we're gonna get at some point that version of Anduin.
I don't.
Maybe it's the next expansion.
Are they ready to
heads up
lose
to like
our
reinforce
beautiful
their
boy?
servers? Yeah. Game Pass, which is something I don't think will happen.
No,
but everyone's talking about it. because
People
the
love
Xbox
talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll put that on there.
Eventually.
Why not? And 10.3. If they announce 10.3, I feel like I'd be very surprised at this point.
Yeah.
Balding
But,
Anduin.
why not? Who knows? Could be part of it, couldn't it?
Why would you put 10.3 in such a strategic box, which could be like either diagonal or like you got to put it somewhere else, man?
I mean, do you want me to swap them out?
Yeah.
No,
Okay, look.
no. Look,
I've still got the
It
file open
eliminates,
for this.
like,
Is there
all of
anything you
this
want to add
for
to this
bingo.
card? Anything you'd take away and anything you'd add?
No, I mean the only thing I feel like I've been missing is Khadgar. Like, where's our guy?
I feel like we've had Khadgar
We
this
have a little
expansion,
bit.
supposedly.
We
Yeah.
did
Isn't
get
it
him in a
somewhat
cinematic.
It was
short?
so brief. It was so
yeah.
brief. You've kind of covered all of the big stuff, like rumbling around.
Well,
in
we can take out the
community.
free square if you want. We can get rid of that and put anything that you want in there.
I want to keep the free square.
I knew you would.
You gotta keep the.
I've
the
met
free
you, I know
square.
Yeah,
you,
Pepper,
I
that's a
know.
question a lot of people have asked. What happened?
Okay, great. Well, there we are
Yeah.
then. There is our BlizzCon Bingo card 2023.
I love it, Tally. But what
Nice.
about your specific prediction?
Okay, so I'm going to actually keep my essential prediction that we made 6 months ago, mostly so it still looks really good, if I'm right. But I feel like nothing has really come out apart from maybe some kind of like really, really fun leaks this week that kind of. But even then, I feel like we'll definitely go beyond the Western Storms. I feel like it's got to be done, right? I feel like
I think so too.
I don't know if Khazalgar will actually be beyond the Western Storms or if it will be our base and how we get across the
there.
Western Storms.
Right, yeah.
But I feel like
That's
Khazalgar
possible.
will be our base of the expansion.
Khazalgar
I'm
will
gonna
be
predict
its
that
own, I think.
Avalorn is not the whole continent, is not the name of the continent.
Okay.
But
so. I
maybe
think it
something
is.
else that happens a bit later or whatever.
Okay.
I'm going to predict that I'm really into the idea of a whole Eastern Kingdoms revamp. I don't know. I'm
I
into
love
it,
it, but
I'm
I
gonna
don't think
stick
it's
to
gonna
my
happen
original,
yet.
Like, I'm going to stick to my original prediction, and I'm going to say that it's a new continent,
Okay.
which they'll bill as being like the size of an old world zone.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
So instead of an Eastern Kingdoms revamp, they've made a whole new like Eastern Kingdoms
Okay,
basically,
okay.
which is out there with like all whole different stuff.
Anduin and Sylvanas are getting
I
it
know.
out.
I'm 50-50 on that. I think like the whole Eastern Kingdoms revamp thing is really.
Oh, they're fucking.
really
I just don't know if it's going to be
compelling.
canon lore.
There's a lot of because you've got all those new models for buildings and
Yes,
stuff
I
from
was just
Elwyn
gonna say,
Forest and
love those.
what have you. You've got like boat models from Silvermoon and stuff,
Yeah.
which is, of course is Eastern Kingdoms, and that would open out Silvermoon for them. Gilneas is in Eastern Kingdoms.
You've also got the whole kind of set dressing that we're seeing for BlizzCon. With like
I
the
think
kind
he's
of-
right about a lot of this
Yeah.
Eastern Kingdom stuff. I just think it's coming in the next the expansion after this one, not this one.
Seriously,
Maybe
so
Elven
They're already,
building.
they already know
would
what
be
that one's going to be.
so fitting for the 20th anniversary next year
It would
of
be
World of Warcraft. So I kind of think that is going to happen, but I'm going to stick to my original prediction. I'm going to be like new continent beyond the Western Storms, which they will bill as being the size of an old world continent.
Okay.
Even overall, I've got a feeling it would be like dotted islands and
Not
stuff
yet.
Sure.
with maybe
Not
some
yet.
water traverse and stuff like that. It's probably where Iridikron is going to make his base and how he is like launching his attack on the World Soul, which he wants to use to bring all the Titans to Azeroth so he can kick their ass.
Yeah,
Wow.
Don't forget, that's Iridikron's plan.
That is
I love it.
Iridikron's plan.
His motivation
That is
is so
happening.
great. His
We already know that. That is happening. At some point in the next expansion, he's either going to succeed or fail in doing so. But his plan is to bait the Titans out. He's going to masturbate the Titans out so he can beat them up. Right? Masturbate them to beat them. That's what he wants to do. He wants to beat them off after masturbating. Yeah.
motivation is he wants
Good.
to attack
We
the
got
World
it.
Soul to get the Titans' attention so they come
So
and
he
try
can
and save the
kick
World
their
Soul,
ass.
and he beats them up. It's like that's
Which is,
literally
like,
it's like
big
my
That's
plan
his
is I just
plan.
want them to come here so I can beat them up. I just want them to like just put them in front of me, and I will beat them up. That's what I'll do, and I love him for that. I think that's fantastic. I think there will be new Drakthir classes. I think there will be Shaman for all. I think that's good. Definitely new support specs. I think Thrall probably will feature in the cinematic. Why not? Player housing. I feel like we're probably not there quite yet, but
maybe
they've got to be working on it.
That is coming.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
I feel like the boat thing would really help with player housing. It'd be a good first step.
I've been saying that for a while.
Big underground. So I think
player
Castlevania
housing will be
based
a
around
boat
the
thing.
big underground city. You know, there'll be bits above ground, but you'll fly underground. It'd be really cool. And like,
Nice,
yeah. That's what I think.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, anything else you'd add to that? What are your predictions, man? Like, I know you don't like making predictions so much, but
Okay. I think the whole like Avaloran kind of crossing the seas thing is a big red herring.
wow. Okay.
So I think that will happen.
Hang on. You think we get to Avaloran on the back of a big
a red herring.
herring?
Yeah.
He's probably getting
This'll
ready for
take us to the
BlizzCon.
stars.
No, I think so I think that's going to happen, but I think that's just like deflection, and it's not going to be the most important thing.
Okay.
I think actually, having talked this through with you just now, I think the most important thing is going to be a world revamp.
You do think that's going to happen?
I actually think that's going to happen, and I think they're going to frame it because there's always got to be like a framing device, and I think it's going to be like, you know, we went on a journey. We went on an adventure. We crossed the seas looking for something new.
exactly what you're about
but
to say.
what we were looking for was here all along.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Right? So it's like, you know, we're being,
I can see that
being
happening.
taken away.
Oh, and it'll be, you know, maybe what we were looking for was here along. Ba, 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 ba. Oh my god, I think you're right.
Damn, I actually
I
get hyped
think
for
you're
that,
right.
not
I
gonna
think
lie.
your prediction is right.
Am I just a fucking WoW simp who can be easily stroked and hyped? That might be the truth. That might be it.
Well, you know what? Mine was 6 months ago.
But just talking about
No, I think you're. That's
talking about it
when
now
you put
with
it like
you,
that,
I
holy
would be
shit.
like, ooh, like
When you put it
what
like
would
that,
give me chills?
Yeah,
That would.
Oh, that would give me chills as well. Oh damn! I think we might have just invented a better expansion than the one we're gonna get.
Impossible. Impossible.
My goodness, I actually think you might be right. You might be right.
I don't think I am.
And
but
do you know
it's
what? As
fun.
long as one of us is right, I'm
Exactly.
pretty happy.
Right?
So that's
This is
pretty
the-
cool.
this
That's the
is the-
advantage we have over the other YouTubers.
Double
We get to do a
shot.
pincer
They get a
movement.
double shot.
Like if I'm wrong, I get to go, yeah, but what about her? Oh, that's
It's
really
like
cool.
it's like that riddle, like who's anyway.
No, you
So
can't.
that,
What riddle?
my
You can't do that.
I've used up all of my like creative energies now. I can't even.
Well, we better go because I've got to edit this video,
Yeah.
and then we got to see our
Done.
kids before we go away for a week.
Oh,
and then
God.
we got. Do you think they'll be all right here by themselves?
Oh, they're gonna love it. Yeah. They know.
Basically, yeah, just leave them in the house by
on the
themselves.
They
TV,
know how to work
leave
this-
them, leave them some bread, one of those like gerbil water bottles on the wall.
They know how the stream deck works. So like,
Want some big streams from
yeah,
you guys.
just a picture
Okay.
of like daddy's face, mummy's face.
We are at BlizzCon. Obviously, we're going to be there from Wednesday, and you know we've got like various mixes and things we're going to. But
Yeah.
we will be streaming
Wish I
from
was.
BlizzCon, an official featured stream from the show floor, starting at 11 a.m. So we can watch the.
Wonder if it'll be in one of the
opening
2 new
ceremony
demo
with
areas.
You.
Together.
React in real time. We can
With
do our
you.
bingo
Hey,
card.
they
and you
didn't.
can-
I guess they're only talking about retail. They didn't mention the potential for a Classic Plus announcement, which I do think is going to
you
happen.
can go, wow, I can't believe you were so right. That's incredible. I was not expecting it.
Yeah, and then after we react, we might have something to play on stream. I don't know.
Who even knows?
I think
I
that
don't
should
know.
be on the
If
bingo
you are
card.
at BlizzCon, we are doing an official meet and greet type thing at 5:15
Khadgar's in 10.2, is he?
California time in BlizzCon.
It's going to be Hall D.
Oh, Hall D.
Appropriate.
Yeah, I always insist on the D. And we're going to be there with Preach and Fandy
Maybe in a
and
Warcraft
Bajira
4. That
and
could be another one.
Platinum
Yes,
WoW.
I agree.
And I think Salsa Breezy.
Oh,
is gonna
Salsa
be
Breezy
there.
as well,
Or
of
he's
course.
Or are you thinking about be streaming at the same time?
Streaming at the same time. Right. I think you're right, actually. Yeah.
Anyway, have a look. It's on the schedule. There are going to be loads of lovely people to say hello to.
Bunch of cool people on there.
And
It's
then
gonna
us
be really,
as
really,
well.
really cool. So come along, say hi to us there.
We're also going to have maybe a dev interview while we're there that we'll be able to share with you
Oh,
afterwards.
yeah, definitely. I would imagine that's definitely going to happen.
There's going to be lots and lots of stuff going on.
And then, of course, we have the weekly Reset Live on the Sunday. And if you haven't
Yeah,
got a ticket
Preach
for that,
thought he was gonna
probably
leave
too
WoW.
late,
Get the
in
fuck.
fairness.
Nobody ever
They
leaves
went
WoW.
out to our patrons as first dibs, and I
Take a
mean,
break, you never
we've got
leave.
double
The
the
fuck
amount
outta
of
here.
people as last year. We booked a hall twice as big as last year, and
I
it's
opened
all
the
sold
steel
out again. Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you.
you guys
If you
are
are coming,
amazing.
looking forward to seeing you there.
Yeah.
And obviously, we will record that and we will put that as
Great.
a
For
weekly reset,
everyone.
right? Exactly.
You will be able to see it.
Lots of reaction. Who even knows? Depending on what the announcements are, we might put out
Reaction
another video
is
as
my
well.
thing.
In
Yeah, we'll
between
see.
all that, might do a bit of a belly laugh. Might just put out a million
Little
videos
here,
while
little
we're
there.
yeah, exactly. Saturday's looking pretty chill for us, right?
Definitely will.
So
Yeah,
we
actually.
might do that. What with there be no Q&A and stuff?
Yeah.
It's like wow, yeah. So if you are there, please come and say hello to us. It's the best.
Wonderful
thing about
video.
BlizzCon is seeing people and just chatting and stuff. And
It's been too long.
yes, we will see you there either at BlizzCon or in your house when we're on your screen talking to you like we are now. It'll be brilliant. But
Soon
thank you
you'll
for
be
joining us
another
today. If you like this
admin
video,
vault.
don't
We
thank
can
us.
only
Thank our
pray
patrons.
and
Give them
hope.
actually real life money to make all of our work happen, including the weekly reset live. Which thank you for making that happen. It's going to be amazing. Hopefully we'll see lots of you there. If you didn't like it, downvote the shit out of it.
That's great.
My name
That's great.
is Fandy.
Oh.
I might keep that one going all the way through the Q&A.
Yeah.
No, my name is Tali Evitel from me.
And me, Evitel.
Until next time, cheerio. I'm so
Hey,
excited.
that was a good video. Good video. Yeah, my predictions, as I said in the video, we're going to the new continent. It's all going to happen. Earthy shit, dwarven shit. Yes, I think that's all going to happen for sure. And I'm excited to see what the announcements will be. Didn't realize it's been 4 years since our last BlizzCon. Wow. Can't wait. Can't wait.